What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we have an amazing vlog. If you want to become a famous writer in 2026, tell me how. Well, maybe I'm not going to be able to tell you how to become a famous writer in 2026, but at least I can tell you how to write a book. Or at least I can give you a couple of tips of how to start writing your book. Well, in case you are new to the channel, my name is Daniel. I like to write. I like books. I'm just in love with oh my God, the smell of old books. Oh. This year I had the chance to publish two of my books. Here there are my babies. One is called Midnight Thoughts and the other one is You, Me and a Cup of Coffee. Both of them are poetry books and they are already out there in Amazon. And with this, I'm proud to say that I'm over 100 copies already sold, and these are my babies. I love them. Additionally, I have finished my first novel, and this book took me a couple of years, but I finished. I don't want to reveal the title yet because this beautiful novel is not yet out. Yeah, it could be out already, but I really don't want to because this is kind of my big baby. This is my big baby, and it's just at the moment, these are like little things about me, but at the moment it's full of things that I want to change. I don't know if you have ever heard about it's like the syndrome of the artist. You know, the unfinished painting, that sometimes you paint something, but you keep editing, you keep changing things, you keep putting little touches. That's what I feel with this book, even though it's kind of ready. Every time that I have read it like 5 times already, and it's not a small book. There are things that I want to change, that I want to perfect. But hopefully soon I have to let this baby go. So hopefully this one, you will see this. I'm gonna show you the first word. The first thing is a short story, something. So this one is gonna be out very, very soon, hopefully. And well, last but not least, right now I'm working on a children's book. It's meant to be for kids, even though behind the main story there is a moral for adults as well. But different from the books that I have already produced, you know, poetry and the novel, this one, the new book, is going to have some illustrations. So I'm working with an illustrator who is helping me to create some, you know, illustrations, drawings to make the book a little bit more appealing for kids. But about that one, we're going to talk later. However, in between the writing, what keeps me motivated to keep writing is coffee. And guess what? I don't have coffee. Please, take a seat. Let me take a seat. Come on, nothing like coffee at home. Cheers. Let's come back to the topic, writing a book. Where should you start? Well, in this one, you're gonna hear thousands and thousands of opinions. People telling you that you need to have an idea first, that you have to write different drafts, that you have to write the names of the characters, that you have to have a clear idea, that you have to think about it many times, that you have to blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you. Number one, the idea. Yes, of course, we need an idea. We need a source. We need the first raw material to start with. However, when writing your first book, you might have 2 ways. One, that is actually starting with the idea, like what do you want to say? Do you have some characters? Do you have some plot already? You have a beginning, the plot, and the end, and then you try to develop. However, my style in this exact moment, the one that I use for this novel and the one that I'm using for the children's book that I'm writing right now, is something a little bit more intuitive that starts with a theme or a topic. And these 2 things are different because the idea for me is something way more general. Like if I ask you, like, what is the idea of the book? You might have the idea, the beginning, the plot, and the end. However, sometimes I have only the theme, the topic. Look, I want to talk about this specific thing. Maybe there is some romance going on. Maybe it's a dramatic, maybe it's crime, maybe it's non-fiction, maybe it's fiction, maybe it's just poetry. I have a theme, I have a topic, but I don't have yet the whole thing. I don't have an idea of where to start and where to finish. Or perhaps I know where to start, but I have no idea where the story is going to end. And I really love that. When having an idea, your main and most crucial thing to do, the activity that you should do, like right now, if you have an idea and you want to go with the general idea, you already have a beginning, a plot, and the end, is that you have to give it structure. You have to give it some structure, some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the steps, like the process, the chronology, the timeline. Call it whatever you want to call it. Then write it down. You're going to start dividing chapters. You're going to start dividing scenes or different stories, and you will see how it develops because you already have the beginning and the end, and basically you have to work in the plot itself. However, in my style, and basically the one that I'm kind of advocating for, is a little bit more fluid. It's a little bit more flexible, and I think that it allows me to have way more creativity and control in the story. Not to mention that when you write more intuitively, you become a passive reader. Yeah, because when I'm writing, sometimes I don't know where the story is going, and I get surprised myself. I'm writing, and then I start putting characters in scenes, in places, and I'm like, what's going on here? This is good. Oh my, I can't wait to see what's next. But I have to write what is next. That's amazing. So first of all, the idea, the topic, the theme, fine. Now, this is my personal secret that literally is gonna allow you to develop a very creative story. I usually have 1 or 2 characters, probably one, the main protagonist of the story, and give him or her, or it if it's an animal, whatever it is, a place. You have to place this person in a geographical location. A mountain, a city, a town, a river, a country, the desert, the ocean, wherever you want to put the character. And then you start thinking of, okay, what's going to happen next? Once you have a place, you adjust the topic. So what do you want to tell? Let's say for a second that you want to create a romance story. And you want to put the character, first of all, I don't know, in the desert. How can you find love in the desert? Maybe the guy was walking around until he fainted because of the sun and the heat. And then he was rescued by a stranger. And the stranger happened to be a woman, a beautiful woman. They fell in love. And they had a beautiful story and kids. But also the story can happen in a city. I'm going to put my main character in London, in New York, in Berlin, in China. And then he's having a coffee. He's having a meal. He's going to a restaurant. He accidentally bumps into somebody, or the possibilities are just infinite. Now, we have already 3 things. We have a character, we have a geographical location, and we have a topic. Crime, drama, fantasy, romance, whatever you want. Now, we have to start guiding our protagonist through the story. However, when I'm guiding my characters through the story, I am very conscious about the peaks of the story. The peaks. Yeah, the peaks. This is a concept that is commonly used by writers. Imagine a movie. Have you noticed when you're watching a movie and the movie has moments of excitement, and then the movie comes like normal, chill, sometimes a little bit boring, then it comes normal, then excitement. Or imagine a horror movie. The horror movie is like sometimes plain, and then boom, a peak of horror, excitement that makes you jump, and then it goes down again. The issue is you cannot keep a plain story. It's gonna become boring. It's gonna become like, there is no sense. I don't want to know what is next because it's boring. I don't want to know. I lost my interest. You cannot keep a very high peak of excitement because then there is no chance for punchlines. There is no chance to create a more surprising moment because every second everyone is surprised. Imagine a movie where every second you are scared, jumping. Like, what is the purpose of that? Like, no. Also, imagine a movie that becomes too slow, that becomes like, you don't see like the development. So the idea is to create peaks. So I understand that I'm gonna start in standard mode, in a plain mode, and something has to happen. Something that is gonna slow the story because maybe the character fell into, he remembers something, he had memories, and now he's thinking to himself, he's taking a moment to remember, to reflect. Maybe he's remembering somebody or a place or an experience that marked his life. And from that moment, boom, something happens. Something unexpected. Maybe an accident happens. Maybe he meets somebody. Maybe he finds something. Maybe he discovers something. But then we go to standard again. What is he gonna do with that thing he found, with that person he found, or that event that happened to him? And then I continue. Something happened, peaks. And The best way to explain this is Netflix. Have you seen that every time, this is a catch, this is the hook from Netflix. Every time that an episode from Netflix, from a series ends, they end in a high peak. In a high peak, something is about to happen, but they don't tell you. They don't tell you. You just have to wait and you have to watch the next episode. And the next episode is gonna finish probably in a high peak. Something is about to happen, but it doesn't happen. And then you're hooked, you're hooked, you're hooked. Well, it's not much different from writing books. Every time that you tell a scene, every time that you develop a topic, you develop a short story within the book, the idea is that you finish in a high peak. Expectations, intriguing, that the reader wants to see what's next. Now, we need to talk about how to store information. For this one, we have right now in this 2025, 2026 time, we have, oh my God, endless sources and endless options to storage information. If you are more in this technology world, you can just easily use your iPad. You know, there are a couple of softwares where you can just write by hand or just type and you start storing information. That's nice, not my preferred one, but that is okay. If you are in the technology world and you like to keep, information like digitally, there are a couple of resources that you might use that are a little bit more organized or are gonna allow you to structure your stories way better. One of these ones is Notion. Probably you have heard about this before. I love it. I love it. Imagine Notion as it's like a Word document, right? It's just a Word document where you can just enter information. You can just enter information, paragraphs, but it allows you to organize things very nicely. You can add charts, you can add tables, you can add timelines, you can add so many other things that maybe is going to help you developing the story. While you write the story, you start using Notion to capture some ideas, some future events that you want the story to have. Names. You can have a list of names for characters, or you can use AI. This app is connected to AI, even though you should not use ChatGPT or AI to create your story because it takes away your creativity, but you can use AI to motivate you, to inspire you, to push, to give you some information to keep going. For example, sometimes I have found myself like, hey, I need names. I don't have good names. Or at least I cannot come out with good names for my characters. I asked ChatGPT to give me a list of names for a person with a very specific description. And sometimes it's very accurate. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I don't have an idea. I have this, but I need something to happen. Give me an idea of an event that can happen right in this moment of the story. And ChatGPT or any other AI generator is going to give you a couple of ideas, then pick one and develop it. So using these technologies nowadays is not bad, and it's going to be a great support for your story. However, I like it, but I don't love it. I'm very into proper writing. These are just some of my journals that I have used for the books that I just showed you, and I just like to write. And maybe you wonder why I decided to start writing on paper rather than in a digital source. Well, my dears, everything comes just to personal choices. I just think and feel that when I write, I think everything that I write storages in my brain better. I can remember easily, and I like the fact of me developing the idea, the stories. I cross out, I start again, and I feel that whenever I can have just my notebook in my pocket or a little like agenda like these ones. I can write things. When I'm in the metro, when I'm walking around, when I'm having a coffee, I'm writing things. Instead of having a computer, I use Notion as well. But that Notion, I use it when I have already a plot. And then with Notion, I try to organize things. I try to correct things. But that is in the stage of editing, formatting, correcting, that I use my digital tools. At the very first beginning, I use just my hand, a pen, and journals. I just enjoy writing. However, this video is not for people who are experienced writers. These are for people who are amateurs, people who are just beginners, people who are projecting to write something. Sometimes, it can be the case that you don't even know what to write. Well, I would suggest you 3 different ways. You can go more emotional feelings. Yep. Poetry. With this one, I just wanted to show a little bit of my love for coffee. I wanted to express emotionally my love for drinking and making coffee, and all the things that happen in my head when I'm just chilling at home or in a cafe place, having a coffee, thinking, reflecting about life. Or here, sometimes you have a coffee to slow life down, just to make the pace of time slow down a little bit, breathe, relax. And I'm just putting all those thoughts here. And then I added a couple of graphics. Look. And this is it. It's very simple. Poetry is not as hard, and it's not, there are different types of poetry. You can make it rhyming, you can make it like a poet. And poetry is actually easy to write. I mean, there are different types of poetry. Of course, you can write poetry that is like rhyming, like rhyming. Roses are red, violets are blue, and I like coffee the way I like you. But there are other types of poetry like mine that is literally expressing thoughts through a paragraph that for me is aesthetic. That for me, reading this short paragraph, 1-2 paragraphs, is just a pleasure because it's like a flow reading that is not rhyming, but there is some flow, there is some feeling, there is a structure, and I love it. And you can do it right now. However, my suggestion when writing poetry is that first you need to write your poems somewhere else. If you follow me in social media, TikTok or Instagram, you know that I always have a small agenda, a small book, and I'm writing and I'm posting poems. So I'm already collecting material for future books. So I'm all the time in a constant stage of writing, creating. Whenever I have an idea, I just write it down and I post it in social media. But now I have something that I might use potentially in the future for one of my books. And what I do sometimes is that I label those poems. Sometimes I want to write about coffee, and then I end up, in a couple of months, I end up with 100 poems about coffee. Or I write about love, or I write about regular life. But I label those poems so that at the end, I can take them. If I want to create a book of just love, like poetry directed to love, I'm gonna take my poems that are about love, or coffee, or let me show you. These are some of the books that I carry on my pocket. They are very small. Look, they are very small, even very, very small. And all of them have poems, and I have many more in my library. Let me show you. These ones were very small poems that I just write wherever I am. Look, I was writing little poems, whatever. And also here, and then I have many poems in this too. And the same story happens to any of the books. Any idea that I have, then in these ones, I started categorizing by color the topic of the poems that I was writing about. And my dears, just write and write and write and write and write. And continue writing and more writing and more writing. In this one, I didn't like it, so I wrote again and write and write and write. And sometimes you have good ideas, sometimes you don't have good ideas, but that's the process. Keep writing. Some ideas are good, some ideas are not good, but that is the process. That is the process. And I know that whenever I might need poems, because I haven't published all the poems that I have written, but I know that I have material already storage in my library, right here. Probably the task for today, if you want to start writing something, whatever it is, let's say the case of poetry. What is it that you like? What is it that you like? What is it that makes you feel? It can be music, it can be coffee, it can be tea, it can be walking, it can be eating, it can be traveling, it can be love, it can be a person, a specific person. It can be your pet, your dog, your cat. We all have something that makes us feel. Right? What do you feel when you are with them? What do you feel when they are not with you? What do you feel when you are around that thing? Write it. Just write it. And there is something beautiful about poetry, and it is that sometimes you think that feeling you are experiencing is just you. You are the only one in the world feeling that. But then you find out that when you post that poem in TikTok or in Instagram or in a book, you find out that thousands of people feel the same as you. So you are basically speaking for a community, and they are grateful about it. So my dear, like whatever you feel, just write it down. This is not much different from writing a story. It's the same. You can write in the story, you can write the story of yourself, something that happened to you, but maybe in your real life, you didn't react the way you wanted. Now, when you're writing a book, you have the chance to recreate your experience, but with a different ending. So literally, you can have your book based on yourself. It's a story that nobody knows as well as yourself, and then change the ending. That's gonna make you feel like nice. Basically, it's like coming back in time and rewriting your own stories. Once you have a couple of characters, once you have an idea or a theme, once you have a little bit about the peaks, or you kind of have an idea of, the flow of the story, it's time to start thinking about formatting. Yeah, formatting. Think about formatting as what the book is going to look like. For example, let's talk about the paragraphs. Imagine a paragraph that is way too long. Have you seen those books? Have you read those books that some chapters are just long, and you are like, sometimes you're exhausted. Sometimes you're like, I really want to read chapter by chapter, but some chapters are just huge that I cannot read. So I sometimes think about it. I want chapters that are moderate, like people can read in one day and they can stop. They can stop right at the finish, at the end of one chapter, so they can start in order with the next chapter next time they read. So you think about that. How long do you want it? Well, and I have something to guide you. I have an idea of how to guide yourself when writing paragraphs, like how long, how many words, how many pages. And this is very straightforward and very easy. One, go to your iPad, go to your computer and just ask Google or ask ChatGPT, what are standards? The standards of, a novel, a novel that is about romance. And it's going to tell you that maybe it's from 15 to 20 chapters, that every chapter is going to have a specific amount of words. Then your book is going to have 300 to 400 pages, in which that could be a standard size of a novel. And then you start guiding yourself through the information, to specific information that they give you. Sometimes there are casual stories. So are books that are a little bit smaller or bigger ones. If you're writing a sequel of books, maybe you have an idea of, you are not that beginner. Maybe you have already in your head an idea of 3 books already. You know what's going to happen in the first book, second and third, so you know that your books are going to be, are going to expand somehow. However, I have another one that is way easier for everybody, which is just reading. Just go to a library and take a book that you like. Sometimes even the format, meaning the size. Look, these two are different sizes. This is the first one that I made. And I found out that it was a little bit shorter than other poetry books that I have. So this one I tried to correct it. You might think they are the same, but no. I'm gonna put it right here. Look, if I put it like right here, you're gonna notice that my second book is a little bit bigger, because this is a size that is way more standard for this type of poetry illustrated books. So you see, how do I discover this? By just comparison. I was comparing my book to other books that I had on my hand. And I said like, hey, I want my book to be like this one. So I formatted the next one just like the ones I liked. And last but not least, your style. That is the signature of your own writings. Even if it's poetry, even if it's essay, maybe you want to become a blogger. We haven't talked about this. Maybe you just want to write blogs, which are sometimes useful for people who are, surfing online. Blogs about the city, reviews, like blog reviews about food, places, restaurants, cities, traveling tips, whatever. That can be amazing. In any writing that you do, you have to find your own style. I don't know if you want to be more formal in detail with perfect punctuation and very fancy words, or maybe you want to be more casual and fluid so that people can go through your content easily. That's up to you. There is no good, there is no bad, there is totally up to you. And last but not least, once you have an idea, print it, just paper, just print it. Let me show you. Hello again. So this is the book that I've been writing for kids. I already finished my draft, my manuscript, and I can show you. I'm gonna cover the title for my secret purposes, but this is manuscript. Look right here, manuscript. And I have something around 15 chapters, which are very small chapters. Look, chapter 12, and I just wrote it. My manuscript is here. But what do I do with this? Very simple. I use this paper to do one of the steps in writing, which is a very crucial and vital step that you cannot skip, which is proofreading. Proofreading is the act of rereading what you already wrote to find either mistakes, that maybe your writing is perfect, maybe you are very good at punctuation, maybe you are very good at spelling, maybe you are very good at grammar, so everything technically is very well written, but maybe the chronology of the story is wrong, but maybe some things in the story don't make sense, but maybe the characters in the story are not where they are supposed to be. So you have to read again and edit, change, delete. I literally, as you can see, maybe you can see, look, I highlight things and write things because it's not perfect. There are things that I'm like, this is better if it goes before, or actually this is wrong, this doesn't make sense, I don't understand this, and I have to rewrite again, correct, edit. That's proofreading. But sometimes you read your own mistakes, and by mistakes I don't mean again punctuation or grammar or spelling, I mean the logic of the story. And this is very common. Why? Because in your head there is a logic for the story. In your head you know the chronology very well because you wrote it. It's your idea. So in your head, it makes sense. However, when somebody else reads it, that person is going to tell you like, I don't get it. I don't get this paragraph. I don't understand. Where is this coming from? And then you are like, oh my God. Like, yeah, I can see that through the eyes of somebody else, this doesn't make sense. For me, it's totally okay. For them, it is not. And I have to serve my readers. I have to make it simple. They cannot be reading my book and be questioning no, they have to be flowing with it, just flowing with it, so they can actually go to the next chapter and next chapter and next chapter. So that is why proofreading, you can do 1, 2, 3 times yourself, correcting as much as you can, polishing it, just making it aesthetic, nice, obviously correcting everything about punctuation, that when you read it, it has a nice pace, that grammar is nice, that spelling is nice, but it isn't very nice that you can give it to somebody else, at least the manuscript or a couple of chapters, and that person can give you some feedback. Like, I understand the story and it's okay. Or I understand the story, but there are a couple of things that they just don't make sense. Or they can say like, hey, your story just sucks, Don't take it personal. Maybe your story sucks, not because of the characters, maybe the plot, maybe you are not using the peaks, maybe there is no excitement, or there is no moment to slow down, think about, any reason. But people can help you in this one. And you can use one of your friends, one of your colleagues, one of your relatives, but also online. Online, I know it from my own experience. There are people online who are willing to read your stuff just for free. Just they want to read and tell you. You can just receive feedback and opinions from others. Don't take it personal. This is for your constructive knowledge. It's just for you to grow. It's just for you to be better. So chill out. Some comments might be like, you can discard some comments, but so let's say that be positive. Probably these people really want to help you, and then you're gonna end up with a perfect story. Then you start thinking about the cover, or if you want illustrations, about the colors. I want the letterings and the fonts in the cover. That is it's a delightful, it's a pleasure to do this, because it's like, wow, this is the face of my book. People need to like it. People should feel engaged and hooked to read my book, and that brings out a lot of creativity. Obviously, you can use your own creativity, or you can help yourself with somebody else. An illustrator or somebody who has, an experience writing books can give you some input or ideas, etc., etc. So my dears, that's all I wanted to say. I'm literally just a regular person who I just like to transmit my ideas into words, and I just do it. So leave it in the comments. Do you have an idea? Would you like to write something? What is it? Poetry? Something more narrative, like a story? Something more like a sequel? Are you into writing fantasy or romance? Or leave it in the comments. I'm going to read you. My dears, thank you so much for watching. I just want to, somehow bring some inspiration from a human to another human, and that's it. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, because that's going to help me a lot bringing this type of content to you in case it's useful somehow. And well, have a nice day, have a nice evening, have a nice morning, have a nice life, have a nice everything. I'm gonna enjoy my coffee, probably I'm gonna go read my book, and yeah, I will see you later. Yes.